Hi, and welcome back to Off the Hook Crochet with Nicole. And today I'm going to let you off the hook with having to purchase crochet patterns. My Tip Tuesday today is going to be all about finding and sourcing free patterns because this is a great way to really get started with crochet when you don't have a big budget or any budget sometimes, but you still want to kind of start learning your craft and honing your craft. And there are so many amazing, fun, free patterns that you can find out there. Free, free, free. But if you don't know where to look, that doesn't do you any good. So I'm here to share with you my favorite places to find free patterns. So let's dive in. My first selection for you are to find some online directories for these crochet patterns. One really fabulous one is Ravelry, and I actually did a video, I'll link to it below, that where we can actually kind of talk you through how to find some of these free patterns using Ravelry. So if you're interested in that one, check out that video and I'll give you a little walkthrough tutorial on how to use it to actually find patterns that way. Some other great ones are some websites like allfreecrochet.com or lovecrochet.com. Some of these are so full of ads, you just have to have a little bit of patience and understand what you're clicking on so that you don't end up getting an ad instead of the actual pattern. But if you do have that patience, these are great sites for getting those free patterns. Okay. Another source for amazing free patterns are to go to the yarn company sites themselves. So these are the companies that actually sell the yarn. And these can be big companies such as lionbrand.com or hobby.com, Bernat, but it could be also the indie dyers like Expression Fiber Arts. They put out a lot of free patterns in order to promote the sale of their yarn. So these are great places to get free patterns all of the time. And you can just go on those sites and do searches for them, subscribe to their newsletters, and then they'll send you all kinds of free patterns. And it's just a great way to really kind of start building up your collection. Now, if you don't go to the indie dyers, there are also crochet bloggers, and some of these bloggers will sell their patterns, and sometimes they'll give some away for free as just kind of like a little promotion or something like that. So if you subscribe to their newsletters, sometimes you'll get those free notices or those notices about their free patterns. And sometimes you can just search, you can go to their website, and they'll usually have a link somewhere on there that says patterns. And oftentimes it'll say free patterns somewhere. So just go to their sites and kind of browse around and see what they have. But definitely subscribe to their newsletters because that's a great way to get those free patterns. And then, of course, we have tons of social media, and you can get so many resources from just joining crochet groups on Facebook or using Instagram with the hashtag free crochet patterns. All of these different ways that you can use social media. Pinterest is really big. Just make sure that you're doing a search for free patterns. And when you're putting in those search criteria, that you use free in that terminology in order to get those. Social media is also a great place if you're looking for something specific. You can go into some of these crochet groups and post and say, hey, I would love to see all of your free pumpkin crochet patterns. And then you can get a list from them and they'll share with you the free patterns that they've discovered that are pumpkin related. So that's another good way to kind of use social media to find these free patterns. And then, of course, we've got video. YouTube is fabulous for giving you tons and tons of free patterns. Again, just make sure that you're using the search criteria free crochet pattern, and then whatever it is that you're looking for, whether it's free crochet pattern for blankets or free crochet pattern for tank tops or amigurumi, whatever it is, When you're specific with your search terms, that's going to really help you narrow down and find the ones that you are looking for. One of my favorite sources for getting free crochet patterns are libraries, because there's tons of crochet books and magazines, and they're all free from your library. Now, if you're not close to your library or you don't like actually going into your physical library, our phones and our tablets and even the computer, the desktop, have this app called Libby app. And if you use Libby app, you can actually access your public library and download the digital copies of these magazines or these crochet books, and then you can flip through them and find the patterns that you like, and it's all free. So something that you would normally have to pay for, you can get those for free. Now, one of the things that I strongly recommend that you do not do is ask people for copies of their paid patterns. A designer has put a lot of time and effort into making a pattern available to you at a minimal cost. And that can, it can take a designer dozens of hours to create a really nice pattern. And if somebody's giving that away for free, they're not making anything on that. So if they're charging $5, but you get it for free, then maybe next time they're going to have to charge $7 in order to compensate for all of the yous that are getting it for free. So don't go and ask for other people to share patterns that they've paid for. Just go ahead and spend the $5 to get that pattern for your future use. Now, some tips when you are looking at these free patterns, because not all free patterns are created equal. Some of them are created by designers that are not that great, or they're new at the craft, so they haven't honed it yet. Some of them are, I hate to say it, not real. So it might be an AI generated pattern or something that somebody just sort of tried to copy from some other designer. So some of the things that you can do to kind of pay attention to this is look at or look for other projects that have been created using that pattern. And this is where Ravelry really comes in handy, because you can go onto Ravelry and you can search for that specific pattern. And if it is listed, oftentimes you can see the projects that other people have made using that pattern. And so that gives you an example to find out, is this a pattern that's going to work for me? You know, are there some feedback that I can look at and say, you know what, maybe this isn't quite where I need to be as far as standards go, difficulty goes, all of that kind of thing. And then when you're looking at those, you'll also get to see lots of photos of those completed patterns. So that's a really good way to really judge, is it going to really end up looking like what you want it to look like? I mean, I've seen a lot of photos of patterns, and I looked at it and I'm like, okay, the designer must have been really good at photographing their project, because none of these other projects look anywhere near like what the designer's photos look like. So I'm not sure what this is all about, but I'm going to base it mostly on this and say this is probably not a pattern I want to take an effort on. And then read the comments and reviews. Just good ways to gather up all of that information and determine whether or not this free pattern is really going to be worth your time and attention. Because I promise you, there's going to be some really bad free pattern designs out there, and you're going to stumble across them now and then. It just is what it is. But if you do, and it's a legitimate designer who really is trying to hone their craft, share with them the stumbling blocks that you're finding, whether it's a misunderstanding about the pattern or it's not well written in a certain area. When you communicate that to the designer, they can improve their craft, and they're really appreciative of it. Obviously, sometimes they're going to get a little nasty with you, but that's not very often. Take a chance and communicate with the designer. I'm sure they're mostly going to appreciate your efforts to help them improve on their craft and their projects. So that's what I would like to share with you today. Where are your favorite places to get free patterns? Where have you kind of discovered some of these places that are just gold mines for the best quality free patterns that you can get? I'd love to hear from you. Share those in the comments. We'll kind of create this big, long list of all these great patterns, and we'll work from there. And if you like this, share, comment, and like and do all those kind of things. Make sure you share it with all of the crocheters that you know that love free projects or free patterns, and we'll go from there. I'll talk to you next week. And in the meantime, if you're stuck on something, let yourself off the hook.